Hello YouTube, this is Omagent here, and in today's episode of Zombie Analysis I'm going to be talking about the community of zombies. Specifically the fact that today the majority of them are complete morons. Now, how did this happen? Well, let's look back to the early days of Black Ops 1 before any DLC came out. The story was largely conveyed through individual notes or radios scattered across the map, a few character quotes, etc. If the map had what could be described as a quest Easter egg, it was just that. It was an Easter egg. It didn't involve the story, it was just something fun and a bit different to do. The flytrap injuries, perfect example. This meant that the storyline information was very accessible and anyone could find it and gain an understanding of the general story, the backstory of the map. However, when Ascension came out, everything changed. Ever since, the story information has become ever more centered around the quest Easter egg, to the point that this is pretty much the only source of information about what's going on in the story in the maps. And because experienced zombie players were completing them in a few days upon release, Trackers made these Easter eggs ever more complicated and difficult to complete to challenge the experienced zombie players, but this has meant that the average player hasn't a chance of getting past the first step unassisted, let alone finishing it. Now combine that and the addition of trophies to ensure that even the casual zombie player is fully aware of these Easter eggs' existence, and the fact that anyone who doesn't have an Xbox can't even get DLC maps until 1 month after their initial release, and inevitably this creates a large community that becomes horribly dependent on YouTubers to not only find out how to do the quests, but also find out the ending of them, as many people struggle to gather enough competent players to finish it. From this, it's a natural step for the community to evolve to be completely dependent on YouTubers for all of their information, and being unable to tell the difference between decent ideas and bullshit because they never work out anything for themselves, they just have it handed to them on a plate, and they become incapable of self-thought, resulting in utterly moronic ideas like Bustard B, Fear to Ned and Lucy Lane to become the collective assumed truth even though they're utter rubbish. Now, it's a pity this has occurred, and to be honest I can't see it being reversed in the future because people have become so dependent on the big YouTubers. Even if Treyarch makes steps to make the storyline more accessible to the casual player, they're just dependent on the people to be handing out the information, so they're not going to work it out for themselves ever again. And seeing as the people who are handing out this information are making a lot of money off this, they won't be in a rush to change the status quo. Now thankfully there are some sub-communities where the problem is less severe and self-thought and independence is encouraged, but for the community as a whole it's really a lost cause at this point. And on that sad note, this has been Omagent. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.